What is going down, Sourdough Squad? It is Thursday, and it is time to talk about the quarterback because after yesterday's press conference, that has been a lot of what everyone is talking about. We've also got some updates potentially from Aaron Rodgers, and we got some defensive coordinator stuff to talk about as well. So we're going to get into that all right now. But you guys already know the vibes. Smash that like button, drop an SDS in the chat. It's the off season, baby. Let's go. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. How are we doing? Has it gotten any easier for any one of you? Are you guys, have you come to terms with the outcome of the NFC Championship? Are you moving are you moving forward with your daily lives, or are you just stuck in a fog just trying to understand what comes next? I think we're all in the same boat. I think every day that I wake up and I look back at it, I'm just like, man, how did this happen? How did we get here? Unbelievable. But hey, it is what it is. We are San Francisco 49er fans, so we are not new to heartbreak at all. But I have one bone to pick before we get into this quarterback conversation and get into all our fun off-season topics. It is time to fire the NFL script writers. I'm not sure if you guys have seen kind of the viral clip of Arian Foster talking about how the NFL is definitely rigged and everyone's given a script at the beginning of the year to basically tell you how the year is going to play out. Well, we need to rally up, find out who these script writers are, and we need to fire them because I'm tired of the script of 49ers heartbreak. We need it over with. Be gone. So that something we're still coping with. Definitely still coping with. The NFLPA, we'll get into our topics here, but the NFLPA has voted. The 49ers had 7 top 5 players, according to the NFLPA. So the NFLPA is doing a new thing where they are putting out their own awards, which is voted on by the players, opposed to like the AP awards that are voted on by journalists. Their big gripe is that journalists just ultimately at the end of the day, they don't know ball. So they feel that it's not accurately representative of their league because, let's face it, these people went to journalism school. They didn't go to football school. So they do their own voting, and the 49ers have 7 top 5 players. Kyle Juszczyk is the number 1 fullback, according to the NFLPA. George Kittle is the number 2 tight end. Christian McCaffrey, the number 4 running back. I thought it was still somehow disrespectful that Christian McCaffrey is ranked below Tony Pollard. And Tony Pollard's been a good running back. He is a good running back. But how are you really going to discredit Christian McCaffrey like that? Christian McCaffrey had over 2,000 all-purpose yards, 17 total touchdowns. How is Tony Pollard above Christian McCaffrey? Again, Tony Pollard did have a good season, but Christian McCaffrey did it on 2 teams. That should stand for something. That alone should be the nod to take him up above Tony Pollard, in my opinion. Trent Williams, LT1. No surprise. Look at that. The weakest link, Jordan Mailata, tied for 4th best tackle in the NFL, according to the NFLPA. It's turned out that, hey, Jordan Mailata is not a weak link. Shocking. But, hey, we know better than that. Also, the 49ers had some defensive players show up on the list as well. You had Nick Bosa voted as the number 1 edge rusher. You had Fred Warner voted as the number 1 off-ball linebacker. And safety, Talanoa Hufanga, came in at number 4. So Talanoa Hufanga got a lot of love this year, a lot of respect. It's good to see out of a player who's getting his really first crack at getting his first career start. That's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome for Talanoa. So again, we knew this. We knew the San Francisco 49ers had talent everywhere. So that's not shocking at all. We did find out today that Vic Fangio will not be the DC for the San Francisco 49ers. So how do you guys feel about that? It did kind of feel like the San Francisco 49ers might be able to get Vic Fangio over here. And again, he's a former DC back under Harbaugh with the 3-4 that he what the hell, man? Oh. So Vic is going to become the defensive coordinator for the Miami Dolphins. But I'll ask you guys, what do you guys want to do with that? How do you want to pivot? Do you want to get Steve Wilks, former interim head coach from the Carolina Panthers? There's also a report earlier from Josina Anderson that the San Francisco 49ers are also talking to Chris Kocurek about being the potential defensive, the defensive line coach now being promoted internally to defensive coordinator, or Chris Harris, who's the Commanders' DP coach, former Denver Broncos cornerback. I was thinking about it like this. I feel like D'Amico Ryans has an interest in making Chris Kocurek potentially his defensive coordinator. So what I'm concerned about is if the San Francisco 49ers hire Steve Wilks, who I think is a really good coach, and I would love that. But I would also hate to lose Chris Kocurek as well. And I don't know if that's the case, but I would not like that. I would like to really have Chris stick around. I feel like he's a big glue guy. He's a big reason why the 49ers have had a lot of success on defense. They give him personnel ability to pick and choose players that he wants them to target for his defensive line. And so he's already got buy-in from the team. He's got buy-in from his players. So I'm just concerned if you can keep both. If you can bring in Steve Wilks and keep Chris at the defensive line, then that's a win-win. But I'm concerned that it's one or the other. I'm concerned that if you bring in Steve that you might lose Chris to the Texans. So if that's the case, I would actually, if it was one or the other, you bring in Steve Wilkes, he becomes a DC, you lose Chris, or you elevate Chris to DC. I might choose I might choose Chris. Because also you have Daryl Tapp, who's the assistant defensive line coach. He could slide right into the D line position, take over the D line coaching responsibilities. Obviously, we don't know wholeheartedly like what Chris would be able to provide from a scheme standpoint. It would be very interesting. I'd imagine he'd be able to handle those duties. Um, but I just don't want to. I don't want to lose that man. I think he's too important to the culture of the defense. Losing D'Amico, losing Chris in the same season feels painful. It feels like a lot of change would be coming for that defense. And I want to try to mitigate that as much as possible by trying to keep as much continuity. And if I can do that by keeping Chris in that seat and just elevate him, I might do that. So I don't know. It's going to be an interesting decision, but of course, Vic Fangio is out. And the San Francisco 49ers now have a decision on their hands. Which way are they going to go? And it will continue to be a fascinating one for the 49ers. Also, so let's kind of transition into our quarterback conversation. Were you guys upset with John Lynch saying that Trey Lance needs to find a way to stay healthy? Did you guys particularly find issue in that? Because I know there was a good portion of Twitter that did not like that comment from John Lynch about the quarterbacks. What's your guys' take? Was that something that rubbed you the wrong way, or do you see truth in the statement? I'm curious to see what your guys' thoughts are on that particular statement. So far, looks like some people did have some issues with it. Others are saying it's the truth. Russell said it did not bother me. It's football. People are going to get hurt. Daniel said he said the same about Jimmy. Sam says John Lynch needs to find a way to show his face when his team is losing instead of disappearing. So I'll be honest. When I was watching it, it wasn't even something that stood out to me. Because I mean, if you look at it from a pure factual standpoint, you go back to week 5, Trey Lance's, or no, you go to his rookie season against the Raiders, right? He broke his finger against the Raiders in preseason. That kind of put him behind the 8 ball a little bit. Week 5, he got his first start against the Cardinals, had the knee issue. Remember, he was probably going to start. Like, I really think that if Trey Lance doesn't get hurt against the Cardinals week 5 in his rookie year, he takes over as the quarterback, because I do think Trey Lance would have been the quarterback in that Colts game. And I actually do think with that game, Trey Lance's legs would have been the difference in that game. If you remember the monsoon game at Levi's Stadium, right there is where Trey Lance could have taken the starting job and never given it back to Jimmy Garoppolo. And that whole season, his rookie season, could have been a lot different. But he had the finger injury that kind of lingered on him all year. Remember, he talked about that. And then he had the knee injury in his first career start that kind of knocked him out of that game as well. Um, and then, of course, just the unfortunate injury that happened to him week 2. That was really tough. So I can I can see both sides of it. I could see why people might be upset at it, because you know trying to someone's got to you got to work on staying healthy. Some people might take that as being insensitive, um, but I think these guys are professional enough to understand that. You guys know that one of the top sayings in football is your best ability is availability. So if that's truly how football players move and they operate, your best ability is your availability, and you're not available. Um, it's not. I don't believe it was said in a way to be like overly critical. Um, I don't think it was said in a way to like tear him down or anything. I think it's just the fact of the matter. He's been dealing with injury since his rookie year, and I think him dealing with injury has got himself in the way of being the starter. So I didn't personally. It didn't even phase me. I had to go back and watch it because I was trying to figure out why everyone was so upset. And I didn't think I personally. This is my opinion. I personally didn't take issue with it. I think there's truth to it. Uh, it needs to stay healthy, but so does everyone. Everyone needs to stay healthy. Kittle needs to stay healthy. Trent needs to stay healthy. Christian needs to stay healthy. It's the same scenario for anyone. Um, what was the biggest knock on uh, Christian McCaffrey? He couldn't stay healthy. A lot of people didn't like the trade of Christian McCaffrey because he couldn't stay healthy. Has nothing to do with the type of player he is, the talent level he has. It's just the nature of the business. Got to stay healthy. And right now, Trey Lance through 2 years hasn't been healthy. So, and I don't think the intent was malicious. I don't think with what he said was malicious, um, and stuff like that. And I think Coach says if he meant everyone needs to stay healthy, why didn't he follow up with that? I don't think he's saying everyone needs to stay healthy, but what I'm saying is that is just a fact of football. Like you just need to stay healthy. And if you want to be a starting caliber quarterback, you have to be available to be the starting caliber quarterback. And Trey Lance hasn't been available to do that. So I think that's really what it comes down to. And John Lynch even went on to give a personal example about how his first few years in the league, he couldn't stay healthy. And then after that, he went 8 years without an injury. So I feel like he provided context. Um, I feel like he quantified what he was meaning, and also quantifying that he wasn't taking a shot at uh Trey either. So, but as we know, we are still waiting to see who or what Brock Purdy is going to do with his UCL injury, if it's going to be a repair surgery or if it's going to be a full Tommy John. I guarantee you they are fighting like as hard as they can to make sure it's just a repair. Kyle Shanahan did sound really confident that it was just going to be a repair. Um, so we got to wait and see. But again, I think because Brock Purdy's injury is going to linger into training camp, I do think the San Francisco 49ers are going to bring in a veteran quarterback that has some veteran experience. So, because of that, it is going to be it's going to be very interesting to see what this quarterback room looks like. Um, you heard it yesterday from Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan does not believe that Jimmy Garoppolo will be back on the roster in any scenario. Do any of you believe that Jimmy Garoppolo will be back in any scenario? If you do, let me know in the chat. But I think we would all agree that he's not going to. You had Ian Rappaport go on Pat McAfee today and say that he wouldn't be surprised if Jimmy Garoppolo lands in Tennessee with Rand Carthon, the new general manager. As you guys know, Rand was the director of pro player personnel. Probably had a lot to do in scouting Jimmy Garoppolo before the trade. So I don't think Jimmy's going to be back. I think that ship has sailed, and the San Francisco 49ers are at minimum moving into this year with Trey Lance and uh, Brock Purdy at quarterback. But again, it does sound like I don't know if you guys caught it. Uh, it does sound like they are going to potentially submit like a roster rule or an abbreviation of some kind to allow teams to carry 3 quarterbacks. So that does sound like at the league meetings, that is going to be something that the 49ers are going to push forward for you to be able to carry 3 quarterbacks. So opposed to like, let's say 53 or 48 on the active, there's some way that you can carry either 54 players or like 49 players, which means you have an additional quarterback on the active. So you don't run into a situation where you literally have no more quarterbacks because of how you have to manage a roster of 48 and how you have to use special teams and all that type of stuff. So, but that still being said, I think the San Francisco 49ers are going to carry 3 quarterbacks and 3 quarterbacks that they think are capable of starting. So, if we look at the available free agents here, Tom Brady, who I think was at the top of the list for a lot of people, he retires, so he will not be an option. Baker Mayfield, we saw what he was able to do with the Rams. He will be an unrestricted free agent. I would assume that Matt Stafford will be returning. So I don't know if the Rams try to bring him back. You've got Sam Darnold, who actually I think played okay at the end of the year with Carolina once he got some opportunities, and he's still young. Teddy Bridgewater, Daniel Jones is going to probably get re-signed. I don't know. But either way, I don't think they're going to have money for Daniel Jones. You could go with the wily veteran in Case Keenum. You can go Mason Rudolph, who has started a good amount of games with Pitt, but just not really a starting caliber quarterback. Jacoby Brissett, I think, had a really good performance with the Browns. I think the Browns really liked Jacoby as a leader. I think Jacoby has experience running a very similar scheme for the Browns with Stefanski. Stefanski runs pretty much the same thing as he's like a Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay disciple. So Jacoby Brissett could definitely be an option. Joe Flacco, Andy Dalton, Mike White. Bring back good old CJ Beathard. Dang, CJ's 29? Holy. Crap, CJ's 29 already. That's wild. Taylor Heineke. We could bring back good old Blaine Gabbert. Definitely not going to be bringing back Nick Mullins. Would they kick the tires on a Drew Lock? See what he has. Probably not going to be bringing back good old Josh Johnson. Tyler Huntley. I like Huntley. I'm not going to lie to you guys. If you could get Huntley for cheap, I would definitely consider it. He's still very young too. I don't know if Huntley would be someone that you'd want to kind of operate Kyle's scheme. I really don't. If you are running more of like the Trey Lance scheme that we've seen, Huntley would fit in real nice. If you want a running quarterback, then I'd take Huntley. I like Huntley. I'm not gonna lie. I think Huntley has a lot of potential. But again, I think also too you gotta figure out, like, do you want a Trey Lance style scheme where you still have a running quarterback? If so, Huntley fits in perfectly with that. PJ Walker, I don't mind PJ Walker. Jarrett Stidham, should we bring in the Stid Goat? Hey, Stid Goat look pretty nice, man. I don't mind Stid Goat. Gardner Minshew, maybe. So I think there's some good options out here. I don't think it's doom and gloom. Should we bring in Nathan Peterman? Nathan Peterman for all the memes and the content. So, all things considered, I don't think Lamar Jackson will be someone that's in play. Where's Mariota? Why don't I see Mariota's name on this list? I don't know if Mariota is apparently it doesn't look like Mariota is a free agent. I don't see him. So I don't think he is a free agent. These are the quarterbacks that I would consider. I think heading into the 2021 season, if I was very, very adamant about don't you dare even think about bringing Sam Darnold into my 49ers locker room and give Sam Darnold the starting job. I would have lost my mind. But it did sound like that the San Francisco 49ers had quite a bit of interest in Sam Darnold. But Sam Darnold gets traded to the Carolina Panthers, doesn't do well with the Carolina Panthers. However, if Sammy is coming in to be a backup, potential third string, I can live with that. I know Mike Shanahan loves Sam Darnold pre-draft. Sam Darnold has a cannon. He's just got a bad processor. Maybe Kyle's the one that can fix him. Maybe. I'll take it as a third string I'll take him as a third string quarterback. I'm going to say hell no to first or second string. But third string? Yeah, you have my interest. So that's someone that I would definitely consider for third string quarterback. And I like his age. I still think he's in that range where he can improve. He can improve mentally. That's where Sam Darnold can improve the most. Let's see. He had over 1,000 yards passing, 7 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. So His touchdown to interception ratio improved. His passer rating was the highest it had ever been at 92.65. So I would definitely take a shot on Sam Darnold as third string. Not first string, but third string. Definitely. Uh Teddy, I've always been a big fan of Teddy, but I'm kind of I don't know. I'm kind of souring on Teddy a little bit. I think Teddy's capable. I think he's a great locker room type guy. But he just couldn't stay available last year. And the Dolphins needed him to be available and he wasn't available. So I think because of that, I'm out on Teddy B. And I like Teddy B a lot, but I think I'm out on Teddy B. I need again, the name of the game is availability right now. We need a backup who has starting caliber, uh, or has been a starter, but we would need someone to stay healthy. That's the number one thing. So because Teddy's injuries, I'm probably out. I don't want Mason. You could convince me on Case, but he's not going to be one of my he's not going to be one of my top guys. Jacoby Brissett, I think, is going to be one of my top guys. Um, but it is going to be interesting to see if he does get starting caliber money or does get like a Tyrod Taylor deal where they bring him in to kind of be a bridge starter somewhere, just kind of like he was a bridge starter until Deshaun Watson came back. Maybe that's something. I mean, 12-6 touchdown interception ratio, threw for over 2,600 yards, and he played in 11 games in which he started. So it's not terrible. It's not the best. An 88.89 passer rating. It's not the best, but all things considered, I wouldn't mind Teddy B, or excuse me, Jacoby B. So right now, I like Sam Darnold, which I can't believe I'm saying out loud. Jacoby Brissett. You could sell me on Flacco. I don't want Flacco though. Andy Dalton, my ginger brother. Uh, I don't want Andy Dalton. I'm gonna be honest. There would have been a moment in time where I would have been okay with Andy Dalton. I mean, he doesn't have the worst numbers. I just he, Andy just doesn't strike me as a winner at this point in his career. So I'm sorry, my ginger brother. I'm out on Andy right now. Um, Mike White obviously is going to have experience in the scheme. I wouldn't mind Mike White. He's showed moments. He's definitely shown an ability, and clearly the locker room enjoyed him and they liked him a lot. I think that's a big part of it. But no CJ, no Kyle. Taylor Heineke, I think, is gonna be one of my clubhouse leaders for my third quarterback. I like Taylor, man. I like what he's made of. I like his grit. I like his moxie. I like his fight, his competitive spirit, and his team clearly loved him as well. Uh, so I like Taylor. I would definitely bring in Taylor. Taylor would be at the top of my QB3 wish list. Um, I don't want Chase Daniel. I don't want Henny. I don't want Mullins. You might be able to convince me of Drew Lock. Huntley, I wouldn't mind. So this is going to be my tier one list. Is going to be my tier one is Sam Darnold, which I can't believe is something that I'm saying. Sam Darnold, Jacoby Brissett, Taylor Heineke. Those are my tier ones. So if we're up to me, tier one, Heineke, Brissett, Darnold. I like them enough to come in and be quarterback 3. So I would project that one of those 3 guys could be coming in to be the quarterback. And again, it's going to be interesting. It might I would say the best potential shot could be Sam Darnold because Sam Darnold still has time to kind of reclimate his like can there's still a window for Sam to try to get back on track and potentially become a starter 2, 3 years down the road, getting himself into a Kyle Shanahan scheme where Kyle Shanahan isn't going to ask a whole lot from the quarterback. He's just going to ask the quarterback to operate his scheme on time, make the correct reads, and make the correct throws. So I I can't believe this, man. I can't believe that Sam Darnold is a tier 1 guy for me, uh, for quarterback 3, but he is. So, it's Sam Darnold, Jacoby Brissett, Taylor Heineke, tier 1, 3rd string quarterback for the 49ers. If I had to drop into a tier 2, my tier 2 is gonna be Gardner Minshew, it's gonna be Jarrett Stidham, Philip Walker, Tyler Huntley. The chat seems to like Cooper Rush. So maybe Cooper Rush. I don't know. I don't know if I like Cooper Rush. I don't know. Uh, I think Drew Lock falls outside of tier 2. No, I'm not going to put Cooper Rush in there. I'm not. I'm gonna not going to do that. So, and then I probably put Teddy Bridgewater into tier 2. Tier 2, Teddy B. I probably put Andy Dalton into tier 2, Mike White into tier 2. Who else? Drew Lock's gonna fall out of tier 2 for me. Do we bring back Nate Sudfeld? Uh, and if I had to do tier 3, I'd probably have Cooper Rush in tier 3. I'll be honest with you. Cooper Rush would be tier 3 for me. Uh, Nate Sudfeld tier 3, Drew Lock tier 3. Joe Flacco tier 3. Mason Rudolph tier 3, Case Keenum tier 3. You know what? I'd probably put Baker Mayfield into tier 1 now I think about it. I think Baker played good enough, but again, nah, he'd probably be tier 2 actually. Tier 2 just because I don't think there are players on the team that like him. So, I don't know. Only 30 likes. Hey, it's the off season. Not a lot of people are hyped up to be talking about potential quarterback rooms. So I get it. It's okay. It's okay that we only have 30 likes. Why do you not like Cooper Rush? It's ginger on ginger crime. No, I haven't watched a whole lot of Cooper Rush. I've never really bought into the Cooper Rush hype. I saw him play a little bit this year. I don't know enough about him to just wanna go all in on my ginger brother at 30 years old. So I just I think there's better out here. Why am I not talking about Gino? I'm not talking about Gino because I think Gino's going to get paid. Someone's going to pay Gino, and it's probably going to be the Seattle Seahawks. So that's why I'm not talking about Gino. Listen, us gingers, we stick together. There's a special bond that us gingers have. Um, and we will like it's a real thing. Like when you meet another ginger in the wild, there's just this gravitational pull that you have to each other. Um, but I don't want that gravitational pull. I'm down on the gingers right now. I'm down on Andy Dalton. I'm down on Cooper Rush. I can't believe I can't believe Sam Darnold's tier 1 for me in this situation. So, to me, a big win is if the 49ers bring in Sam Darnold, Jacoby Brissett, or Taylor Heineke. I would say I would say for me though, Tyler Huntley, I put him in tier 2. He's like tier 1.5 just because he's one of the youngest quarterbacks and he just has such an electric skill set. Um, that I wouldn't mind it. It would be very interesting to see. But I don't know if Kyle is looking for that. I don't know. We'll see. Uh so which quarterbacks do you guys want? If you guys had to pick, I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I can't believe I'm saying it. I think I'd want Tyler Heineke first, but I feel like they might go. I feel like if they could go Sam Darnold, I think they would go Sam Darnold. I think they would. I think Heineke and Brissett would be my top choices, but wouldn't be surprised if they bring good old Sammy. They bring Sammy down. Say, let's see what you got, Sammy. That's the thing with Darnold is he's talented. The problem with Darnold is he's not talent. He does not lacking talent. He has arm talent. It's just how he processes so far in the NFL. Can he fix that? Can he correct that? I don't know. I've been pretty adamant that you can't, but hey, this you could get him for dirt cheap, and you could potentially maybe with Brian Greasy in the room. Feels like Brian Greasy did a really good job of unlocking some of these guys, so maybe Brian Greasy can help. Teddy and Sam is a dual threat. Sam, I wouldn't call him a dual threat. He can move. Sam can definitely move. I wouldn't call him a dual threat though. That's for sure. So that's where I'd have it. I think the 49ers are definitely going to be bringing in a veteran quarterback. It doesn't sound like it's going to be Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers told us today that he's not coming to San Francisco, but I don't think that's really too much of a surprise at all. I don't think anyone's shocked by that. So no Aaron Rodgers. Tom Brady retires. So it's going to be interesting. Going to be interesting to see who comes over to the San Francisco 49ers. How about Derek Carr? My answer to that is no, because Derek Carr, one, isn't a free agent, so you'd have to trade. Plus, he makes a boatload of money. Derek Carr, right now, Brock Purdy is better than Derek Carr. So I'm okay off that. Um, so no Derek Carr for me because you'd have to trade for him, right? He's technically under contract, and Purdy's better than him. Could you see us drafting Stenson Bennett if no one takes him early? 100% I could. I don't like it maybe not like 3rd round early, but if you see Bennett chilling like in the 5th or 6th round, why the hell not? Hell, maybe even you could convince yourself to take him in the 4th. Like, why the hell not? He's old. I think he's like the same age as Sam Darnold. I think Tyler Huntley is younger than he is. So he's like 25, 26. So Bennett, that's going to, I think, cause him to. He's like, do you guys remember Tyler? No, was it Tyler? I don't know his first name. Whedon. You remember Whedon, who was drafted in the 1st round um, by the Browns? Dude was like, he was like 29, drafted in the 1st round. Max Duggan, a better, yeah, 100%. But he's going early. Tia says, I think Max Duggan would fit our team. He would, but that would be a trade up. There's no way he's going to be available. You'd have to take an early flyer on him. I mean, best case scenario, he falls into the 2nd, or he's taken in the 2nd, mid to late. You still don't have one of those seconds. Yes, Brandon Whedon. I don't know why I was saying Tyler, but Brandon Whedon. Yes. Hey, Brad, how do you like our own line? What can we do to booster it up? Well, I think Mike McGlinchey. I think it's a telling sign that Mike McGlinchey packed up his locker. I don't know if you guys saw it. Jennifer Lee Jennifer Lee Chan showed him clearing out his locker, and he's like, "Man, I've had stuff in here that's been in here for 5 years." He's like, "I've never cleaned out my locker before." He's cleaning out his locker because he's a free agent. He's not under contract. Um, so that that to me was kind of telling that maybe Mike McGlinchey isn't going to be coming back. So uh, I think I think Mike McGlinchey might sign elsewhere. So that means the San Francisco 49ers have a right tackle potential issue unless they feel Colton McKivitz is going to slide into there and be that tackle for them. They have Jalen Moore as well. Uh, Spencer Burford is going to be interesting to see how they manage that because, as you guys know, they rotated all the way through the end of the year with Spencer Burford and Brunskill. I would imagine Brunskill signs somewhere else as well. Jake Brendel, I believe, is a free agent. Yeah, so Jake Brendel's a free agent. It's going to be fascinating to see uh, if he gets paid by someone or the San Francisco 49ers. He played last year on a base salary of $1 million. Like the San Francisco 49ers might have had one of the best values in the NFL in Jake Brendel at starting center. I don't think he's going to be that cheap again. So it will be very interesting to see if the 49ers opt to pay him or they let him walk and he gets paid by someone else. So the 49ers potentially could need to replace 2 of the 5 starting offensive line. And that's a lot harder than it sounds. Offensive line is such a difficult position. to find guys at. Sometimes you hit, sometimes you miss. So it's kind of scary going into this offseason with a lot of questions on the offensive line. If Trent, knock on wood, if Trent decides to retire, then that would just be devastating. But yeah, we got a lot of questions. Definitely got a lot of questions. Uh, Ariel says, "What do you think about Jawan Taylor from the Jags or Caleb McGarry, Atlanta?" I would rather have Jawan Taylor over Caleb. Not a big fan of Caleb. I definitely would prefer Taylor. I think he has a more uh, athletic skill set that would fit kind of what 40. He's still big body tackle, but he fits more of what the San Francisco 49ers are trying to accomplish with their athletic offensive linemen. I definitely would prefer Taylor over that, but ultimately it's going to come down to is, who's available and how much are they going to sign for? Like, how much is Taylor going to want? So that's going to be an interesting question because if I go to right tackle and we look at the available right tackles right now, you see Jawan Taylor. I mean, 25 years old. Their calculated market value is at 12 million a year, 3 years, 36 million. I would do that. Not gonna lie. I would definitely do that. You look at comparable contracts, Jack Conklin got a lot of money. German Fetty is not good. Taylor Moton got a big time contract. So I would if you got me Jawan Taylor at this price, I would be okay with that. Because what's Mike's gonna have I think a higher market value. Oh, lower. They have him at 10.7. So that would be interesting. That'd be interesting if they'd opt to spend a little bit more for a Jawan Taylor. I mean, how old is Mike? Mike is 28, Jawan's 25, so yeah, a little bit more tread with Jawan. Do you think we address linemen in the draft heavy? See, this is my thing, Brian, is that I every single year I cry for the 49ers to draft offensive line, and it's only until recently that they've started to invest in the offensive line. I mean, we saw it in 2019. You had guys like Ben Garland, Mike Person, um, as starters, and they weren't drafting guys above the 6th round, like school. They were drafting School, McKivitz, outside of Mike McGlinchey. They just really weren't investing draft capital into their O line. And I thought it was such a big mistake because you knew these guys like Persons and Garland and I mean, obviously the injury to Weston Richburg threw a huge wrench, I think, in their plan. Um, but it is going to be interesting, and I do think they look at Nick Sakel as a potential starting center, and potentially Jason Poe. Like maybe Poe comes in at right guard, and they kick Burford to right tackle. I- There's they have options. They have options, but yeah, I mean, I feel like if I'm the 49ers, I am throwing capital at that O-line. I am throwing like they have multiple third round picks. One of those third round picks is going to a tackle. They got multiple fourth round picks. One of those fourth round picks is going to a guard or a center. Like that, it has to happen. I've wanted an elite center on this team for the longest time. Uh, so we'll see, man. What about Gutierrez? Yeah, Gutierrez. I like Gutierrez. I just think Gutierrez has still got a long ways to go. Well, I think what is it now? 2 years that Gutierrez has in the NFL. So next year, we got to figure it out. Next year, we're gonna have to really figure it out, like what Gutierrez is. I don't think he's shown a whole lot of anything so far, but maybe maybe this will be a big off season for him. Get me DeJuan Jones. That dude is massive. That dude is a mountain. Absolute mountain. Appreciate the super chat. Corey says, seeing this myth a lot right now. Frank Jobe, surgeon who pioneered Tommy John UCL surgeries, among others, have repeatedly stated the surgery does not give any more strength than before. You're either the same or worse. 8 months. I haven't seen that, but I have also heard kind of what you're referencing. I've heard the opposite, where like pitchers have said that they get faster after Tommy John, um, or they throw harder after Tommy John. But I'm not a doctor, so it's really hard for me to give, and I have never had Tommy John, so I can't speak to the injury from like a personal experience. So I can only really just rely on people who are smarter than me to tell me what that's about. So if you're saying that the guy who's basically, you know, uh, pioneered the Tommy John surgery, then I would say that's probably a good source to listen to. Um, I just don't know enough to know one way or the other. But thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. So if we're looking at offensive line placements for potentially Mike McGlinchey, I think Jawan Taylor, if you're looking towards free agency, Taylor's going to be your number one option. But if Mike McGlinchey is going to have a market, you best believe Taylor's going to have a market. Outside of that, I don't think you're really loving any of these options. You're really not loving any of these options. Yeah. So it's like a Jawan Taylor swing. See if you get him. If you don't, you got to go into the draft, man. There's just not there's that's the thing. The scarcity at the position is just substantial. So, I mean, even if you thought about maybe getting a left tackle and trying to convert him to right, like if you wanted to take it Aaron Fisher and try to convert him to, or Eric Fisher and try to convert him to right tackle, I still don't love that. So it is boomer bust at the tackle position. It really is. So that's going to be fascinating to see the way that plays out. Isaac is a free agent. We just played Isaac. I wouldn't mind him. Uh, Nate Herbig. Who's this guy? So I got some homework to do. I haven't really done a deep dive into free agency yet. Uh, I'm still in the post mortem stages of the quarterback conversation, or not the quarterback conversation of the 2022 season. But yeah, we're here. We are here looking at how to construct our roster for the upcoming season. This is the guy that Larry Krueger told me to look at, that he wouldn't mind. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. No chance. There's a chance. I wouldn't put a lot of weight into it. I don't think he's a natural tackle. I think he's, especially in the NFL, I think he's more of a guard. Um, and all that type of stuff. I definitely do think that he's got to stay at guard and just continue to develop at guard. But this line, this could be something for sure. Trent Banks, Zakel, Poe, Burford. We'll see. We'll see. Brad is DC. Yeah, I'll take this. Put me in, coach. Sign me up. Corey says Brad has lost all confidence in Lance. I haven't lost all confidence in Lance, but I also pay a lot of attention to the way everyone else talks about Lance, and they there is a distinct difference between how these players have talked about Lance and Purdy. So I can't be naive to that fact that there's a different way that these players talk about Purdy to Lance. Purdy has tools, traits, and intangibles. He has a ton of talent. He's a young kid. He's built the right way, but we haven't seen enough, and there's a lot of questions right now. Brock Purdy answered all the questions, and Brock Purdy clearly proved to his teammates that as well. So that's all it is. It's not that I don't believe in Lance. It's just we haven't seen enough, and in his 4 starts that he's had, there's still a lot of questions in those 4 starts. He shows glimpses, and he shows a ton of potential, but potential can only get you so far on a team that needs to win right now. So that I was talking about this on Larry's show. I think that's actually one of Lance's biggest uh, problems, is that he went to a team that needs to win now, and they don't have time to wait for a guy to develop in real time. And I think that's where like I said that I think Trey would have done better on a team like the Bears, where not a whole lot of expectations to win. You throw him out there, and you let him develop, and you let him grow, and you build around him, and you just let him grow. But this team needs to win now. They don't have the patience, because again, I've talked about it before. You bring in Trey Lance and you completely reconstruct his throwing motion in the NFL. That's not a good sign. Like, trying to completely change his mechanics at the NFL level when he's already, just doesn't have a ton of experience. Um, I think that's been hard on Lance. And then also, too, just not getting the experience as well. It's been difficult. So it's not that I don't have uh, I've lost confidence in Lance. It's just Brock Purdy has made me ultra confident because I've seen it. And again, I'm a big Lance fan. Like, of course, you guys know I was a big Fields at 3 guy, but it was also, if they believe it was Lance, I'm down with Lance. I saw enough from Lance at North Dakota State, executing like a pro style offense, a lot of play action, all that stuff. I just didn't have the type of experience that I had. I had so much more real time experience scouting Justin Fields where I felt super comfortable with Justin Fields. Trey Lance, I was going back a year and trying to find any North Dakota State tape that I could find and try to figure out who Trey Lance is. But I was watching every one of Justin Fields' games in real time, then going back and watching them, getting to see how Justin Fields was handling these injuries, handling the criticism, how he was responding and bouncing back. Like, I got to see it in real time. So for me, it was a lot easier to say Justin Fields is my guy. But even though Justin Fields was my guy at 3, I still saw that the talent that Trey possessed, I didn't have enough. I didn't have nearly enough resources to scout Trey that I had to scout Fields. So, but it was always Lance or Fields, never Mac. I did not want Mac at all. I remember that was one of my big things that I did with my page was get everyone on board with not wanting Mac Jones. Um, but that's what it is. It's like it was Fields for me. I was okay with Trey. I didn't mind Trey at all. Um, but I definitely wanted Fields. That was my guy. That was my draft crush. That was my draft son. Um, but we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Lance, and Larry said this too when I was on his show. He's like, Lance just might be one of those case studies where just he has an opportunity to be a great quarterback. It just might take some time. Like, that's really what it comes down to. Like, he's got the traits, he's got the intangibles, but there's just a process involved. And I think, again, because Brock Purdy comes in and shows that he's pro ready and Trey's still in the process, they're going to lean on the pro ready opposed to the process. And that's what Kyle has showed me. That's what this organization has shown me. So it's not that I don't, have lost confidence in Trey. But I also am going to be real with myself that I do think Trey Lance does need a little bit more. What we've said all along, he needs more reps, but he's in a position where this team they understand how good they are, and I don't think they necessarily want to have the growing pains right now. But we'll see if Trey Lance comes in OTAs and is sharp, reading the field, operating the offense, doing all those types of things. That's going to be his best shot. It's going to be his best shot. So we'll see. A lot of people got Purdy jerseys too. There's a lot of Purdy jerseys out there. It's probably the hottest seller right now. So that's why this offseason is going to be fascinating. I do think Purdy's quarterback one right now. But Lance has an opportunity to get better and improve and make that conversation much more of a debate than I think it is right now. So we'll see. And who knows? Maybe Trey is ready to go and completely improves in year 3. So we'll see. If Purdy is healthy by the beginning of the season, Trey won't get that chance to develop. That's the issue. Well, and I think that's part of it. It's like the NFL, I think, is fickle in a sense that you don't have that time anymore. You don't have those reps in practice anymore. So he's kind of just got to prove it. You know what I mean? It's a tough situation for Trey, but he's kind of just got to prove he's ready without getting those reps. Like he's going to have OTAs to himself. They're going to bring in a backup, and it's going to be, what do you got, Trey? Let's see what you got. Let's see, have you improved? Which is, again, it's a hard ask too. Coming off an injury, it's really tough, man. I feel for Trey in that regard. Like I feel for Trey. I feel for like the pressure that he has to deal with while trying to develop while hurt. Like it's I do like he's in a tough spot. But unfortunately the NFL doesn't slow down for no one. So you have to just gotta hop in. You just gotta do it. Um so I saw Alberto asking this earlier. He said, "Yo, Brad, so who's the player you're gonna bring on the show tomorrow?" I actually haven't. I'm gonna reach out right now I like to confirm first. Let me if if he responds while I'm on live, I'll announce it on live. But I'm gonna send the DM right now just to confirm. Confirming we're still good to go for 7 p.m. tomorrow. All right. So literally just DM'd him. So right now we're scheduled to go on at 7. Who do you guys think the player is going to be tomorrow? I'll give you a hint. He's one of the top players on the team. But who do you think? Who do you think it's going to be? Someone really say Brian Allen? 69 again. No, it's not it's not Mike. It's not Mike. Top players, Sneed. But I'm really excited about it, to be honest. Like, because I don't want to give too many hints. I don't want to give too many hints. I don't want to give too many hints. I might give it away. So, like I said, once I told him I was gonna follow up on Thursday, just to make sure no schedule conflicts. Just because I know things change in a hurry. So once he confirms no schedule conflicts, I will announce. I'll schedule the live for tomorrow. Again, right now we scheduled it for 7 p.m. tomorrow, so 7 p.m. Friday night Pacific Standard Time. But once he confirms, we Liddy. I'm looking forward to it. He had a big year this year, so if everything works out, it's going to be a fun one. We shall see. Oh, you're trying to get the clues out of me. See, I feel like if I give you any clues, you guys will figure it out pretty quickly. Let's see. Has anyone guessed it? Let me double check. Let me double check. Let's see. Has anyone guessed? Yep, someone guessed. Yep, someone guessed it. So the answer, the answer lies in the chat. So someone's guessed it. It's Mitch Wishnowski. It's definitely Mitch Wishnowski. How many people? See, I can't do that because then you're gonna just go start counting, and can't have that. So you gave it away, Trey. Oh man. All right, so he hasn't responded yet, so we might just have to wait. Might just have to wait. So, but like I said, stay tuned. You guys know I'll announce it on multiple platforms. So, obviously, if you're following me on Twitter, uh, Instagram, I'll probably post it on. And of course, I'll set the live in advance for tomorrow at 7. So just put the post notifications on. Put the noties on so that you don't miss it when we figure it out. And we'll go live after that. So no, he's not coming to the crib. That would be dope though. Live in person interview. But definitely looking forward to it. It's gonna be a good one, man. It's gonna be a good one. So I appreciate all you guys as always. We're gonna keep cooking up the off-season content. Oh boy, off-season content. This is like the 1 year where I did not want the off-season to come. I'm normally welcoming of the off-season, but whatever. I'm still salty from that championship game. But as you guys know, we try to get players on during the off season. Might try to get a couple coaches on, see how that works out. I don't know. How the coaches open up to hopping on independent channels. But I wanna try to get some coaches on here. I love to get that perspective. Um, just kind of learn more about some of these guys and get the coaching perspective. Uh, get Shanny on here. We'll get Shanny on here. No, Shanny would never come on here. Kyle's like, oh, that ginger guy. I'll be like, hey, John Lynch, want to come on the show? And he's like, no, thanks, Nostradamus. I'm like, oh, all right, okay, I get it, all good. D'Amico's not coming on. D'Amico he's in Texas already. He ain't coming on. But I appreciate you guys, man. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Keep your eye out for the announcement for tomorrow's interview. Again, things happen. There have been instances where I've been going to interview players, and we just have a scheduling conflict. So that's why I'm not fully announcing it yet, but I am preparing you for that. We currently have something on the books, but just like to confirm closer to it. So we move. Appreciate you guys. I will see y'all tomorrow. Grab your cookies on the way out. Peace. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to